Hello, and after a bit of a break, finally some chance to do some wargaming. And my good friend Roger has made the effort and come all the way down to my place, and he's brought his samurais and Koreans. It's the first outing for the Koreans. Well, the first time I've seen him. I think he's used them before. Great armies to paint, and good fun to play. So we'll go through a couple of the tweaks we made to the rules, but it's pretty much the standard Lion Rampant. And a couple of new scenarios. So, well, I say couple, this is the new scenario, and it's taking the bridge. I'm not quite sure where Roger got this scenario from, but the idea is, for every turn you spend directly on the bridge, you get a point. So if you're there at the beginning of your turn, you get a point. As soon as you get to 5 points, you won the game. So you can kind of storm the bridge and try and go for a quick 5 points that way, but you've got a vulnerable unit on the bridge, it might get shot to pieces. You might not get to 5 before getting driven off, losing the battle, and the other side comes on. You get the idea. So looking at my force, we'll go through the units in a moment, but I've got quite good shooting. And the original think, I mean, this is the thing about Lion Rampant, it is very much like playing puzzles, and the scenarios are what really makes it, rather than set-piece battles. And this is a good example. You have to think, it's a bit of a race to the centre, and as you know, with the unpredictable activations in Lion Rampant, how are you going to get there first, or do you want to get there first? So I'm thinking of playing it quite cagily. Get the shooters in good positions to shoot across the bridge and anyone near it. Try and win a bit of a shooting war, because I've got one more shooting unit, and clear some space, or even draw out the shooting with another unit. Try and clear that area and then occupy it. That's my initial thinking, but also getting everything in a good position to strike. But of course it's all going to come down to deployments and things like that. Oh, one thing I want to mention is the dice I've made. Hopefully they show up a bit better on the photographs. They're quite nice. My children like them as well. There's no counting involved or anything with my young ones. So basically each dice has got 3 yellow sides, 2 blue sides and a red side. So say you need 6s, you count how many reds. If you need 4, 5, 6, basically got 3 and 6 chance, so you count the number of yellows you roll. 5 or 6 becomes blues. The only one not shown clearly is if you need 3, 4, 5, 6, which happens when you've got heavy cavalry charging, then it's anything but a blue. Alright, so that gives an idea, and you'll see how they work. So going quickly through my army, there's the Korean archers. There's the Korean heavy cavalry. Paid the extra points. Well, Roger went out the armies, but he took the extra point to make them non-impetuous. That's a real liability, that asset. Kills the unit, I think. We got some ideas to change that slightly, but anyway, that's for another time. This is a very useful unit. This one, medium cavalry with bows. So they're quite mobile and they can shoot. So I like those a lot. They become very useful. Star unit, I think. Okay, and then, yeah, sorry about these photographs. Got this rare thing in South Wales called bright sunshine, and it's flooding into my studio, and I haven't got it set up properly for the photographs. It does get better. Anyway, these are effectively yeomen, so sort of militia. And these are what we're using as bowyers. They're monks with bows, so they're the light troops. What's it called? Not bowyers in this. Anyway, you know the ones. The light troops. And there's my mainstay infantry, which is just sort of the sergeants. But they're not sergeants, they're yeomen. So the one thing missing with this army is quite light. There's no real heavy infantry. One unit of heavy cavalry, and the rest are sort of shooty and light. So that's going to be my difficulty. And on to the Japanese army. They've got bows as well. 6 of those. So the peasants and rifles, or not peasants, but the ikiwaki. Excuse me, I've sorted that. There's the heavy cavalry, very tough, hitting on 3s when they charge. 4-point armour. Ouch. Now this is an interesting unit. It's a special one. It's a mixed unit. So it counts as yeoman, I think, well, with the archers. Now, the difference is here, it can't form a chiltron as the full unit, the yeoman would. So it loses its defensive bonus, but it can shoot on 7s. You need 7 to activate to shoot. So that can be very powerful, very flexible, like that unit. There's the crazy samurai. There's the heavy infantry. Pretty similar to the cavalry. I could do some of those. Sorry, poor picture here. This is the other unit of sergeants. So again, pretty good infantry. So on the heavy infantry battle, I'm struggling a bit. And I do apologise. My better quality Koreans, I think, are sergeants as well. Now, this is the interesting unit. These are the tippo, the shooters. We've qualified them as crossbows. And as you might know from previous videos, the crossbows in Lion Rampant are absolutely devastating. We've changed the rules on them, which I'll go through in a second. The thing with the crossbows is that up to range 12, they hit on 4s. So if you're rolling 12 dice, you're hoping for 6 hits on average, which takes out 3 if you're up against another shooting unit. Obviously 2 against the good stuff, the sergeants, and even pretty much guaranteed to take out something with toughness 4, with armor value 4. Now that's devastating enough, but the other thing is they can shoot up to 18 at -1 to hit. Now the archers, when they're at -1 to hit, they're now hitting on 6s. It was 5s or 6s, so obviously they're going to get less in the normal shooting. But what's even worse is if you're trying to roll 6s with 12 dice, very unlikely you're going to get 4, which is what you need to take out a heavy unit. You might get 3 if you're lucky, and there's a chance you'll get 2 hits. So, well, on the other hand, these guys hitting on 5s and 6s, they can get 4 hits. You know, you could fluke a couple more even, and you're almost guaranteed to outshoot anything. So what we do is they have to spend a turn loading. So they have this devastating shooting. We haven't changed that at all, but then you have to spend a turn reloading, and they activate for shooting and reloading on 6s rather than 7s, just to make them not too difficult to use. But the key, when you're facing them now, is to try and draw out that first shot, which seems even more in keeping with the primitive handguns than the crossbows we were thinking of the rules for. So it really brings a little bit more thought into it. And I'm going to apply that as well, I suggest, in the Pikeman's Lament, where in that the muskets are very similar to the crossbows, and again overpowered in our view. So as a unit of those, very devastating, but they need to reload. Okay, and there's the stats, same as in the book, just in a convenient format. I'm not going to go through the whole how to play the game this time. I've got other videos on that. But you've got the activations to do certain things and how good they are at doing them, basically. And there's some of the special rules, that kind of thing. Okay, so that's how I've gone for deployment. Starting at the bottom left, I've got those horse archers, the medium cavalry with bows. And they're in a nice position there because you've got the difficult terrain. Half speed's bad news for everyone. The buildings are impassable. So the light cavs, and I call them horse archers. So the horse archers have got the option now, because I don't know where the samurai are going to deploy. We've got to roll off my opponent's one. I've got to deploy first, but I do get to move first. So these guys on the far left, partly because of the 3-inch spacing rule, you can't get everything bunched together in the middle even if you wanted to, but they're very useful where they are, because they've got the option to go straight ahead and swing around that wood and cause havoc around there if needed, or they can cut across and join in the melee that's inevitable on the bridge at some point. I've got the archers coming around to come just to the left of this building to find a good spot there where they can shoot towards the bridge, because on the other side where the wood is, the bowyers, they quite like the difficult terrain, so they can just go in there and shoot out no problem. I've got my 2 units of infantry in the middle, whose job is going to be take the bridge to rush in there somehow, and the heavy cavalry with the general right on the far right. I haven't played this game for quite a while. I forgot about the importance of the re-roll and the commander thing, but hey, he's over there, and their job is to swing around. I'm thinking if there's nothing over there, they're going to swing all the way around and come into the back and attack things, similar to the cavalry on the other flank. And if there is something there, they're going to occupy them, just tie them up as much as they possibly can, while the infantry do the hard work on the bridge. So that's why I've looked at the puzzle. So that's a bit like a real battle, this, because the enemy's deployed far in the distance. But he's also got bowyers going to the woods in the centre. Now what I've noticed is on the top, there is a unit over to the left there, which I think was the mixed unit. And over to the top right, you've got the situation with infantry's right over on the far right. The samurai and the shooters are obviously going to be in the centre, coming up to cover the bridge. They look a little bit out of the game over there, and that building is going to be a bit of a nuisance, I think, because it's impassable. So I'm really hoping now that my heavy cavalry can get around the right-hand side fast and kind of force them to defend a flank there, and just push up the middle, because if only the Teppo shooters come up into the middle and I can get 2 shooters onto them, I'm going to take some hits early on, but I might be able to win that shooting contest if I can get the horse archers in as well, maybe, or make a run for the bridge as well. The options are open at the moment. Yeah, no, I've jumped a couple of turns here because my activations have been going great, and as you can see, everything's going to plan with the horse archers now up to the river and covering the exact unit that's coming around the wood. His bows come up into the woods, but my archers have already got to a really good spot where they can, in range of the bridge and in range of those woods, and the bows are coming up into the wood. My infantry are advancing down the middle, and Roger's having shocking time. Just nothing's activating, or just 1 unit a turn, that kind of thing. So I feel like I've had a 2 or even 2.5 turn head start, which in a game like this, which is a bit of a race at the end of the day, that's huge advantage. Yeah, and I'm starting to feel for my opponent a bit here, because I think he's again failed to activate, or maybe the bow is just moving up in the wood, but things just getting going, and my guy's already reaching the foot of the bridge. So I'm getting ready to go onto the bridge. Now, this is where I've got one of those situations where those Teppo guys are waiting with that first deadly volley. So I've waited just outside short range. And the idea is there, if he does shoot, it's going to be hitting on 5s and 6s, which is still bad, but obviously not as bad as the 4, 5, 6s. And then while he's reloading, I'm going to rush up onto the bridge, rush in with the shooters, and try and do a lot of damage on them before they get to shoot again. So that's one way of doing it. Or the other way is just rush the bridge, rush the Bidowers in, and take the hit. And I was being a bit reckless, and I thought, let's push it that way. Shouldn't be that bad. Look if I can do some shots on the Teppo, because I think I've got an advantage at the moment. Do I really want to be patient, or do I want to go for it before everything else starts turning up? Which is, I think, the reload rule already working well in this. It gives you that kind of decision. So you can see my opponent's now starting to come around. He moved into range of the horse archer on the left. The Bidower type guys are in the wood in the middle, and then they're in range to shoot, and they've got the advantage of cover. But already there's a little bit of a traffic jam building up behind the building, because the Teppo have moved into their spot where they want to shoot. So it's quite hard to funnel the other units through. And again, though, no activations. So Samurai, I think, want to come around and start contesting the bridge. They're still stuck over there. And the heavy cavalry is starting to roll up on the far right-hand flank. So the situation, our guys pushing up just into range there. And the archers have opened up and done a casualty. Trying to shoot back, and again a failed activation, so I feel like I'm getting a free turn. Yep, as a casualty as the previous turn, and I think the 5s were not activating. So I'm starting to pick those off. If I can get rid of those, I made a hole in the middle, I can really get the shooting advantage in the centre. And I think, are they already down to half dice? Yeah, this is the moment here. So I got another turn because they failed their activation. I thought, right, I'll just finish off the Bidowers. Brilliant. So the archers need 5 or 6 to hit, which is blues. So as you can see, anyone out there who's thinking that I've designed these dice as some way of cheating my chances, have a look at that lot. Only 1 blue out of 12 dice, so no damage at all, but it's okay. So what the plan was, they would take out the Bidowers and break them, or they'd run off, which would mean the horse archers could then trundle across the river and join the battle in the centre. But as it is, the horse archers now need to shoot at the Bidowers as well. Again, hitting on blues. Boom, have that. Again, no hits. So there you go. There's my free turn. Gone. So with the shooting being a complete disaster, I did lose my patience and decided to take the bridge, push the Bidowers up and take the Teppo one. Obviously, in an ideal world, his guys in the wood would be gone and my horse archers would be coming in to give a third target for his Teppo. He can't shoot at all 3. And maybe even the horse archer would charge the Teppo or something, but I'm stuck. That's the frustrations and the fun of this game, and I can't complain. Roger can't activate, I activate and do nothing when I get there, so there we go. Yeah, so anyway, the Teppo opened up. Boom. 8 hits. 4 of my guys on the bridge killed. You can see what I rolled there. That's them gone. So there's an example of how devastating the shooting could be from the heavy weapons. Ouch. that hurt. Yeah, so my cheap guys, my militia, they've done their job. They've drawn the fire from the shooters. And now the regulars storm the bridge, knowing they can't be shot at for at least a turn. And the Bedouins are in position to throw their 12 dice, the 5s and 6s, which is their blue dice, and try to do something to those tippo. And well done them, because the last turn they failed an activation, which messed me up a bit. And there we are, we got the 2 hits. So knock them down. It's rolled 5, and they failed a morale test. So they're now, they've got a rally, which takes a turn, and then they've got to reload before they can shoot again. So I've got at least 2 or 3 turns on the bridge. Finally done a hit on the guys in the wood, and they rolled nice and low again, 5. So they've decided to be battered, and they've moved back half their move. And, well, they can't shoot for another turn at least. So that gives the opportunity then for the horse archers to... they're slowed by the river, because that's difficult terrain, so you've got half speed. And there's a chance they'll get shot, or wherever it is, from the guys on the left. But there we are, this is all about the bridge. I've got 3 turns in the bag. Starting to look difficult for the Japanese. So you can see on the start on the left, you can see where the light calves come through, got the bridge. Bedouins are now pushed up because, having driven the tippo back, they were out of range, so they pushed up to keep the pressure on. And the heavy cavalry on the right now have really started to come in, because they got the guys in front they can charge into, who are not in Chiltern, because they've been moving to try and intercept them. Because I was trying to set the cavalry up to even charge the samurai behind the building, so that his heavy cavalry and those infantry are both there guarding the flank of the samurai, who are a bit blocked by the tippo anyway. So it's looking, it's just got blocked really. So sure enough, the heavy cavalry go in and do some damage on those guys. So they're battered. Took 1 casualty, I think, in the cavalry. But got those on the run. It's heavy well, it's 2 units being committed, whatever happens now. So after rallying last turn, and then activating to shoot the tippo, I don't know, maybe should have gone for the guys on the bridge. As was the tippo to run around and collect it anyway. But anyway, he's gone for the tip. He's gone for my Bedouins. And boom, as you can see again, 4 dead. I've rolled low, so that's them gone as well. But another poor activation for my poor old opponent. Even the guys in the top right didn't rally. I don't think anything moved at all. It's just a disaster, really. So I'm on the bridge. I've now got the horse archers blocking. So it's just physically impossible to... so that's that, really. So it all went pretty much to plan. I think that building on the top right was my best unit. It really blocked things up. And unfortunately, this can happen with Lion Rampant, where for some reason, one side just doesn't seem to activate. I mean, it was a real shame. So what we decided to do was play the scenario again and hope my opponent gets some better luck this time. And we have maybe try some different tactics. And we played that one again, and we played another scenario as well. So I'll be posting those soon. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments. Let me know about what you think of the scenario and the rule change to the sort of crossbow stroke handguns stroke the muskets that would be in Pikeman's Lament. And I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Keep rolling.